6 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, no walks, no win. Meanwhile, another pitcher gives up 4 runs in 5 innings and gets credited with the W. Make it make sense. For over 100 years, wins and losses were the gold standard for judging pitchers. But in today's game, they're not just outdated, they're flat out misleading. In this video, we're going to break down the origin of the win-loss obsession, show why this stat doesn't reflect pitchers' actual performance, and look at which metrics teams actually care about when evaluating pitchers today. Back in the day, wins and losses were the only stat most fans and media had access to. You either won or you didn't. And with pitchers regularly throwing complete games, there was a more direct link between that pitcher's individual efforts and the final result of the game. But that game doesn't exist anymore. Today, starters rarely go past 6 innings. Games are bullpen heavy, and offenses are wildly inconsistent. So why are we still using the same stat from the dead ball era? The problem with the win-loss record. There are 3 big problems with pitchers' wins. First, it's heavily reliant on run support. You can throw a gem and get nothing from your offense. 2. Bullpen reliance. You can leave with a lead and the bullpen can blow it, taking away your potential chance at a win. And 3. Timing. Pitch 6 dominant innings, leave in a tie, and you get no decision. Let's be clear, a W doesn't tell you if a pitcher was dominant. It tells you if his team scored more while he was in the game and held the lead. And while of course, there are cases where a pitcher's performance does assist his team in getting the win. But the point being, is this a statistic that is tied solely to a pitcher? And the number of things that come into play here are not in the direct control of that pitcher, which makes this a stat that you can't in good faith statistically use to measure a pitcher's performance over the course of a season. Let's take a look at some real-life examples that break that win-loss logic. First, you had Jacob deGrom's 2018 season. He had a 1.7 ERA, he led the MLB in ERA+, FIP, and pitcher's WAR, but he had a 10-9 record. He won the Cy Young anyway, because voters saw how dominant deGrom was that season, even though his win-loss record was not very good. And on the flip side, there was Rick Porcello's 2016 season. He had a 22-4 record, a 3.15 ERA, which was one of the best in the league that year, but not dominant, and he was backed by the Red Sox top 3 offense. His W total led to a Cy Young win over Justin Verlander, despite Verlander having better underlying stats, with a 3.04 ERA and a 16-9 record. Our takeaway on this today, wins are not a good measure of an individual pitcher's performance. So what are some stats that actually tell us how good a pitcher is? Let's talk about some better options. First, we have ERA and ERA+. This measures earned runs allowed, and ERA+ takes it a step further by adjusting for park and league averages. Then there's FIP and xFIP, which focus on solely what a pitcher can control, the opposite of win-loss records. Ks, walks, hit by pitches, and home runs all fall under a category of things that are in a pitcher's direct control. You can't blame a position player for making an error or not getting to a ball in the outfield for any of these results. K to walk ratio is going to measure your dominance. High strikeouts and low walks is going to mean you have elite command. WHIP, walks plus hits per innings pitched, a pretty simple measure of a pitcher's performances. And WPA, or win probability added, which is looking at how much a pitcher actually helped the team win based on the context of their specific outings. All of these give a clear picture of individual performance, not team results. When it comes to evaluating a pitcher's abilities, it is in our best interest to measure the direct impact that pitcher had on the field. These advanced stats aren't created to make baseball more complicated, they are simply used as better benchmarks to evaluate a pitcher's performance over the course of a single game, a season, or his entire career. Here's the truth. MLB front offices don't use wins and losses to evaluate pitchers anymore at all. If I'm being honest, I can't remember the last time that I've had a conversation with anybody within the industry on pitchers' wins and losses. So, what are teams looking at instead? Underlying metrics like FIP, xERA, and their swing and miss rates. StatCast data on pitch shape, spin efficiency, and calculating that into their own internal Stuff Plus model. And looking at leverage performance. How well are those pitchers pitching in big moments? A stat like wins tells you nothing about how nasty a guy's stuff is, or how well he holds up under pressure. Modern scouting is about process and execution, not outcomes that depend on 8 other guys in the bullpen. If you want to deep dive into how MLB front offices evaluate prospects, check out our video on the scouting scale linked here. So why do people talk about wins? Habit. That's it. Wins are familiar. They're easy. They've been on a baseball card since 1900. But the truth is, they've never been a good stat. And today, they're arguably one of the worst stats that we still talk about. Of course, in today's game, it has become less prevalent with the integration of technology and statistics into the sport. But in my eyes, this old school stat doesn't have a place in the game any longer. So what should we take away from all of this? Let's be clear. A pitcher can have a lot of wins and be elite, but that doesn't mean that the win total is why he's elite. Pitching is about controlling the game, limiting damage, and getting outs when it matters most, and wins don't measure any of that. They measure context, related to the team, and the stats and metrics we have to measure a pitcher's ability and his stuff are much higher indicators of future big league success than wins and losses ever were. So, if we want to actually understand how well someone pitched, it's time to let go of the W. Want to evaluate your own pitching like a pro? Check out Pitch Logic, the smart baseball that gives you real-time feedback on velocity, spin rate, release point, and how well your pitches are performing independent of your team's offense. Check out the link in the description to get yours today. And if you like this breakdown, check out our other videos on FIP, ERA+, and why a hitter's discipline can be one of his most useful tools. And drop a comment down below. Do you still care about pitcher wins? Or is it finally time to move on? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Simple Sabermetrics.